Thank you, Kim Wilson, for your rendition of our theme, and welcome to episode 27 of the Champagne Comedy Podcast, where we like to talk about the best Australian comedy show of the 90s ever made, The Late Show, and other D-Generation comedy tidbits. My name is Matt, and today joining this podcast is Alison, Daniel, Kim, and Prue.
Hi.
Hi.
And because of the competitions that are running, especially for one of them where people overseas cannot enter it, I thought I'll give him the sympathy card and you can come on and be another installment of a guest reviewer since you were on last time, and that went down pretty damn good. You passed you passed it. We've got Stephen, who's our US correspondent.
Yay!
Yes. It's great to be back, people. Thank you so much. By somewhat popular demand, I'm back. And let me tell you, it is really, really hard to find a VCR that will play PAL tapes in an NTSC TV. So I'm really have put in to get the old tapes out and work in my new country.
When we're talking now, like we're talking to each other on a Saturday night, Alison is on a Saturday morning. And what day and time is it for you right now, Stephen?
It is nighttime on a Saturday. It's currently 1:42 a.m. in California.
Ouch. Wow.
Yeah.
Pain. Lots and lots of pain. And speaking of pain, this episode's full of pain, especially for one person in particular, which I will explain later. So right now... Now, Alison, you discovered something online.
Well, no, it wasn't quite me. Many years ago, I found out somehow that some clips of The Late Show had been part of a program on British television called Bob Down Under, which is obviously hosted by Bob Down, who was very, very popular in the 90s in the UK, and he had his own TV show, which was late at night. And I've never been able to find a copy of this until... my friend Ben Baker, who listens to this program in Keighley, West Yorkshire, he discovered this on YouTube and sent it over to me. And so this is it. Bob Down Under. They play some clips from The Late Show as part of a very strange 1 hour program.
Hi, swingers. Welcome to the Raymond Review Bar and welcome to the show, of course. Ow. Do you know, I've hated this plant ever since we started, but what I actually didn't realize is that it's real. That's not very authentic regional Aussie TV, is it? Unlike me, my look is taken care of by my very good friends at Toys R Us. You know, I've still got the box I came in, and there is not 1 ounce of natural fibre in this entire outfit. Seriously, though, let's have a world news roundup from the Australian Late Show.
Good evening, this is the Late Show News, and heading our bulletin tonight. Veteran BBC war correspondent Martin Bell hit by freak sniper shot.
That sounds like it's from episode 2, season 1, episode 2 or 3, I believe.
Yeah, so this is from 1992, and there's another clip later in Bob Down Under from the Late Show rather. But yeah, it's obviously the Martin Bell joke. There's the Lord Carrington interview from the news desk as well. So it's a sort of slightly British interest sort of clips that they've chosen. But it's such a weird program. I'm sure you'll tweet the link out to this later. But this 1 hour program, it's basically Bob Down in Raymond's Review Bar, which is a very famous strip club in Soho. And he's just linking up a whole bunch of clips from Australian television. So you've got there's a sketch from Kits and Faye. There's a bit from The Big Gig with Glyn Nicholas doing a kind of mime sort of thing. There's a story from the 7:30 report about a dog who became famous in New Zealand. It's really, really bizarre. There are clips from Sky Television. So there was a program called Skylarks, which was this weird program which basically involved a bunch of strippers and a bunch of blokes in an RSL club, and it was sort of interactive games with the strippers, and it looked like it was shot on a home video camera or something. A very, very, very strange program. But also towards the end of the show, they just play 5 minutes of clips from the ABC News. So you get like a story about people in Victoria striking because of new sort of wage deals that the Kennett government have brought in, and it's just that's the show. So yeah, pretty strange show, but part of a number of shows that were made on British television at that time, which were basically shows that would go out kind of 11:30 midnight sort of time, and it was stuff to watch when you got back from the pub, because the pub shut at 11 at that time, so you don't want anything particularly taxing on the brain. So just a whole bunch of wacky random clips from overseas. And the most famous version of this show was Eurotrash. I don't know if any Kim, you probably know
yes,
what
I do definitely
is.
remember that when I was living in London in the noughties. That was a very late night show after the pub kind of viewing as well.
Yeah, and it's very much like Bob Down Under. It's just a bunch of wacky clips from European television. So that's all the program is. It's just wacky clips from Australian television linked by Bob Down with a few clips from The Late Show.
Wow, my kind of club. I wonder if they need a bouncer. Romper Stomper will have a limited theatrical release in December. In other words, too hot to handle for most cinemas. One of the major themes of Romper Stomper, of course, is racial harmony, or the lack thereof. Because what you don't realise about Australia, of course, is that it's like everywhere else in the world. There are hundreds of ethnic minorities all struggling to be new Australians. The Aussie Late Show explains further.
Now, when you come to live in this country from another country, you have the option to become an Australian citizen. Do we have any non-citizens here?
And it goes into the Oath of Allegiance.
Also, this episode has got an interview with Craig McLachlan and also an interview with Danielle Gahar. Anyone remember Danielle Gahar?
Yes.
Eden Gahar's sister.
Yeah.
And she was in London in 1992 recording an album. So there's a few things that aren't wacky clips, but yeah, that's basically the show. It's as cheap as chips, this program, and a bit of an oddity. But anyway, features a few Late Show clips, so go check it out.
You're inspiring me to unwrap my DVD from the cellophane that I have in my bookshelf. Bob Down Under.
Bob Down. You've got a Bob Down Under DVD.
I do, but I've never unwrapped it.
Is that a stand-up show or is that this program?
Well, I'll go find it while you chat on.
Okay. Well, since Prue has disappeared, Stephen, I believe you have something lined up.
I mean, and let's just say, Prue, that is some sizzle we can look forward to in just a couple of minutes.
She can hear us still.
Oh, I can't find it. I don't.
Oh no!
I have a very chaotic DVD collection at the moment. And
Forget my story. I want to hear this one. Okay, so I think just yesterday on Twitter we had Commish Super 10 tweet about, or tweeted my name indirectly on a link to Tony's tweet about SCTV. And so last time I brought a couple of SCTV clips, and so I thought one more. This is for you, Commish Super 10.
Orson King Wenceslas last looked out on the feast of Stephen. All the snow lay round about, deep, crisp, and crunchy. I'm sorry, did I say crunchy? I'm sorry, Lee.
No problem.
He was moving. Yes, you. Please, we're trying to work here.
Please don't move while Mr.
Now, if you're
Wells...
going to stay there, fine. If not, get out. You're taking up valuable air.
Let's just try it again.
Sorry, Lee. Good King Wenceslas. Last... Your light went out. What? Am I on one or two? Who's directing here?
I
There's
think
too
it's
much
one.
talking going on. Come on, fellas. Get it together. We haven't got all day.
Let's try it again, please.
Good. Are you on? Good King Wenceslas. No, I'm sorry, Lee. No, it's not working. You don't know what I'm up against here. I wouldn't rehearse an actor in Shakespeare the way you people work
Please.
here. No, I'm sorry.
Please, Orson, please.
No. It's his fault.
Wait.
Him. Yes, you.
I'll fire him.
No,
don't
I'm
worry.
sorry. You people are pests. No money is worth this.
Orson Welles, ladies and gentlemen.
Okay, now that was John Candy playing Orson Welles. Dave Thomas played Liberace, and anyone that's watched Arrested Development would know Dave Thomas because he was
Mr. F.
Thanks for delivering content to this show. We struggle on a daily basis.
It's fresh content all the way from 1979.
That clip is based on an actual blooper that Orson Welles did.
Yes.
Doing a voiceover for anybody who doesn't know about this. Doing a voiceover for a Frozen Peas advert. So,
Which is also on YouTube.
Yeah. Go and look that up. And like it's been parodied several times as well. Bloody funny.
Cool. All right. And now, did anyone catch on ABC Hard Quiz?
Oh yeah, the castle.
Yes, I saw that clip.
I believe it was Anthony, who was a contestant on Hard Quiz, had his specialty, the castle.
Next set of questions is for Anthony on the castle. In 1997, the Working Dog Creative Team won AFI awards for the screenplays of both The Castle and which mockumentary series? Anthony.
Frontline.
Correct. What's the name of Tracy Kerrigan's friend who makes the fake flowers? Anthony.
Microwave Jenny.
Correct. No, not Jenny.
Not Jenny. Microwave Jenny.
The castle follows the Kerrigan family whose home is jeopardised by the expansion plans of what neighbouring property? Anthony.
The Tullamarine Airport.
Correct.
What a legend Anthony is. Yeah, that's great.
You got every single one of his questions for the castle correct.
Well done, Anthony.
So that is up there with I'm sure is listening Stephen Donahue that went on Mastermind, the Jennifer Byrne one, and did get this as his subject of choice.
Wow.
A deep cut. I think that was in 2019, so only 12 years after that radio show was cancelled, but who's counting?
And we have some listener feedback. This is from Cameron, and he says, I absolutely loving the Late Show recaps you're all doing and would hate to see the camaraderie and witty banter end when we get to Season 2, Episode 20. So my question is, are you interested in continuing the podcast about other Working Dog shows? I think a Frontline recap podcast would be amazing. Thanks for all the hard work you do. So thank you, Cameron.
Yeah, that's a genuine email.
Lovely, Cameron.
Okay.
We didn't just
on a typewriter, is that with Cameron age 75?
So in regards to your question, Cameron, we are working on more stuff, so there will be more of a continuation after we finish the Late Show, and all I can say is stay tuned or stay subscribed. So, and while you're there, if you like us on iTunes, give us a 5-star rating, or if you do a 4-star, explain in the system that we're still number 4 as the punchline.
Now we're going to get a whole bunch of number 4s.
Yeah,
no,
but make sure you,
like 5. Everyone knows that.
but make sure you comment on that. So if you do star number 4, just say this podcast is still number 4. All SBS podcasts knocking at the door. Also, we still have the prizes still going on, the sticker and pin set. This is what you can't answer, Stephen, unfortunately.
Yeah, thanks.
I'm not allowed to enter either, I think.
Yeah.
But you're part of the podcast, Alison.
That's true.
Or you can leave. Yeah.
That's a prize within itself, Alison.
Isn't that my salary for appearing on this podcast, is that I eventually get one of these stickers?
Yeah.
Well, hopefully you get an award, because we actually did enter the Australian Podcast Awards too. So we find out later if we do get in. But by the time that everyone listens to this podcast, we probably haven't been nominated. So just letting you know that we are trying to spread the word out there. So make sure you share our podcast.
That's cash for comments, Alison.
Magnets for comments.
Wow, these stickers are so great. They're the best stickers I've ever seen.
I've made no comments on the quality or otherwise of the stickers and the magnets.
I'm the one who's got them. So they've been supplied by the Dinkum Company, which is an up-and-coming pop culture novelty company based in Melbourne. So, but because of COVID and all that, they've been delaying a little bit longer to try and open a reveal. So make sure in order to get one of these pin and sticker sets, do a photoshopped version of your head doing the champagne comedy pose or anything like that. Email it to champagnelateshow@gmail.com, and that competition closes on October 31st, 2021. But we don't give out the prize. It'll be the Dinkum Company. So they're the ones who will sort all that out, just because it's a third party, just letting you know. So, yeah. Also, if you still want to win the Chances Collection 1 DVD box set, and yes, Steve, you can answer that one, because that one I've actually got.
Do you have it in Region 1?
Yeah, and now he's got to find a DVD player as well as a VHS that can play multi-regional things.
I actually believe is a region 3 box set, even though it says it's region 4.
Only one way to find out, isn't there?
Is there any Brendan Lunny content in Chances? Like, I've decided that he's pretty hot, so.
But was he hot in 1993 or 1992?
Oh, yeah. Well, remember that clip from season 1 when they came out with John Waters in the actual costumes? He was pretty hot in that, so.
Mm-hmm.
He is part of the Australian Wool Network group or whatever it is. The AWN chairman. There we go. If you want to pull on a woolly, then by all means, go see Brendan Lunny. Anyway, you can win the box set. Simply go to champagnecomedy.com and fill out the question, which is, where would you see Jeremy Sims's ass? Simple as that.
Well, in his trousers, presumably.
So, yeah, just fill out the details, and we've got one box set to give away, and that also closes October 31st, 2021. Now, I think that's all about it, so I believe it is time for...
I've got the paper. I've got the paper.
Daniel's program guide.
All right, thanks, Matt. So this is what was up against Season 2, Episode 7, and this mostly comes from Ross Warneke's Critical Guide. So starting on Channel 7... at 8:30 was the film Good Morning Vietnam. So, what was that beat?
That was someone outside of here, I think.
that was the next pod. That was the Comedy Company podcast going. Come on, hurry up! It's our time now.
We're already running overtime.
I'm just glad that you all heard it and it wasn't just me. So, no more Darling Buds of May. They ran through that really quickly. Instead, we've got the story of Adrian Cronauer, an irreverent disc jockey who turned Armed Forces Radio upside down when he went to Saigon in 1965. On Channel 9 with Hey Hey It's Saturday. This week it's hosted by Shane Bourne, and that's because Daryl is on location in London at the Adelphi Theatre with Molly Meldrum and Craig McLachlan and also Andrew Lloyd Webber. And the special... Well, yeah. I keep on wanting to burst into, thank God, yeah. Only he could say it in that special way. Also appearing on Hey Hey was Melissa Takouts, Renee Geyer, comedian Anthony Morgan, and singing I Can't Get No Satisfaction, Rolf Harris. Hasn't that aged well?
Yes. Just to roll back slightly to Craig McLachlan and Andrew Lloyd Webber, what production was that? What was Craig McLachlan in 1992? Or 1993, rather?
Surely Starlight Express.
Could he roller skate? I mean, I know Craig McLachlan can do just about anything, but
I have a gut feeling that he was just in London. Like Andrew Lloyd Webber was doing a production thing, but Craig McLachlan was there for something else, and like maybe he happened to be in another theatre next door in West End.
Yeah, I think they're all separate.
Yeah, it just happens. I think it might have been Greece actually.
Oh yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah. Oh, that was me.
Okay, after Hey Hey at 8:30 is the movie I, the Jury. Says Warneke, it's a poor 1982 attempt to resurrect Mickey Spillane's famous detective Mike Hammer, played here by an uncommitted Armand Assante. The updated Hammer pursues the killer of an old friend, a Vietnam veteran. Now,
uncommitted is an interesting word in that sentence.
Well, I haven't seen the movie, so I'm going to take his word for it. Over on Channel 10, we've got another BL Striker telemovie. Now,
which one is it?
Okay, so I can actually tell you that it's Season 2, Episode 7, and it's called Die Laughing. Burt Reynolds plays BL Striker. Just out of interest, do you want to know what the BL stands for?
Sure. Body language.
Okay, so BL Striker is a series of detective telemovies that aired on American ABC from 1989 to 1990 as part of the ABC Mystery Movie group of movies. So it was airing in rotation along with Columbo and Kojak. And Burt Reynolds plays Buddy Lee Stryker, a Vietnam War vet and retired New Orleans police officer who has moved back home to the other side of the tracks in Palm Beach, Florida, and is working as a private investigator. Stryker lives on a houseboat and drives an old Cadillac and occasionally scrapes up a client. So, like, all I've got in my mind now is that that Simpsons spin-off showcase episode with the Chief Wiggum piss tape.
Yeah, Wiggum PI.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's right.
Look,
Skinny
Daddy,
boy.
there's Big Daddy.
So, in tonight's episode of BL Stryker, Private Eye Stryker takes on the job of bodyguard for a visiting comedian. But, surprise, surprise, murder intervenes. Now, who do you think they got to play the comedian? Just keep in mind that it's Burt Reynolds, and incidentally, he also directs this episode as well.
Oh no!
So somebody in Burt Reynolds is always.
Tom DeLuise, surely.
Got it in once.
Yay!
Yes, the Chances DVD is mine.
Thanks to Vivision.
Okay, over on SBS, we've got another black and white movie. Thankfully, it's not foreign. This is British. It's called The Stars Look Down, an outstanding 1939 British drama based on an A.J. Cronin novel about a miner's son, played by Michael Redgrave, who returns from university to champion the workers' cause, which I think is somewhat fitting because we're recording this on what is, for me here in South Australia, Labor Day long weekend.
Yep.
Yeah, same here.
Same.
See, I wasn't quite sure because I know it's only in 3 states, so I didn't want to assume. I know it's definitely not Labor Day in the UK or the US.
Isn't Labor Day like the 1st of May or something, isn't it? Not that it's a public holiday here, but I know they celebrate it in Europe.
In some places, yeah, it's May the 1st, which is International Workers' Day, but I think in some other states it's like the 1st or 2nd Monday of March.
It is the first Monday in September in the United States. Aren't we all learning something today?
Up the workers.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Wow. Jeez. Is Bill Shorten coming on next? Like,
Yeah, it's a one-woman communist revolution over here, guys.
It's the other guy now.
Okay, last of all, the ABC, and I'm sort of showing a bit more of the night's schedule just because I think some of it's interesting. So after the news at 7 o'clock, at 7:30, we've got Keeping Up Appearances. Says Warnocky, the best British comedy of the 90s.
I would agree with him.
That is a big call.
What?
It's
Hang
good.
on. What, Matt? Do you
Also
agree with him?
What?
Yeah, I am a big Keeping Up Appearances fan.
You're
The
there
resident
every time it's on 9Gem, you're right there.
Oh yeah, I'm not allowed the box set. I'm banned from owning a box set.
Do you know,
Actually,
Matt, when your phone rings, right, do you go, Sheridan, like that?
How much does he want? Yeah. Actually, one of my prized possessions as a kid, I think I got the book for my birthday when I was about 12 or something like that. And it was Hyacinth Bucket's A Guide to Etiquette.
Bouquet.
Yeah,
got a name wrong.
Yeah.
Bouquet.
Yeah, and so
Bouquet.
I completely ruined the book on the first page. I've actually got it somewhere, but just not in this room. And it's in big Sharpie. I wrote property of and wrote my name on it on the full thing. No one else's. So
Is that good etiquette? Do we know?
no, it just shows you I didn't read the book itself. So I just
Not good
vandalized it.
eBay resale value.
Oh, well, my mum wanted to kind of give it away at a garage sale thing. I said, well, it's got my name written on it, so no one else can have it.
All right, so after that, at 8 o'clock is the first of a new series of an Australian comedy from the makers of Mother and Son called Eggshells.
Oh, yeah.
Eggshells.
Yeah, starring Gary McDonald and Judy Morris, who were both in Mother and Son. And sort of I can't find much about the series online, but it seemed to be like a similar kind of a premise, like Gary playing like a divorced father. I think that was the only thing. In Mother and Son, Gary was playing a divorcee who didn't have kids, and in Eggshells he was playing a divorcee with kids. Basically, everybody remembers Mother and Son, and I think nobody remembers Eggshells. Says Warneke, it is harder to feel an affinity with these mundane characters, and the gags are weaker. Then at 8:30, then at 8:30 we've got The Bill, and at 9:30 Birds of a Feather.
What'll I do?
In this episode, Tracy wants to experience her husband's ordeal in prison. And Dorian, she's still just a dirty cow. There you go.
Gradually, that dirty cow gets better.
Yeah. You're improving week by podcast by podcast, yes.
Hey, Matt, how's your Bill binge watching going? What episode are you up to?
Hold on, I can tell you. Let me look it up on my iPad.
I think we need the sort of did it. You need to get that. Right?
I kind of skipped over it, but I can tell you from the listing here, Burnside and Roach hunt.
Oh wait, that's Thames.
And then we go. That's it.
There we go.
Oh, this is early, Bill. This is an early episode.
Yep.
Because they changed it in the 90s. Yeah, there they are walking along the 2 feet.
So good.
So I don't know what season it is in 1993, but the listing here says Burnside and Roach hunt armed robbers while Woods tries to identify a body.
Was I dreaming this, or did I actually ask you about whether you watched Wooden Top, the pilot, as well?
Yeah. Yeah,
okay.
You asked me that, and I watched it. It's amazing how the pilot and the actual season is completely different with the setup, because Wooden Top is just so flimsy and looks so cardboardish.
I think isn't like Constable Carver the only character from Wooden Top to go over to the Bill?
Yeah.
Wow.
So I'm on Team Carver.
I'm doing well for my the Bill podcast that's coming up right after this one. As an avid Bill watcher, I can tell you the problem with the Bill is it went from like a fairly gritty cop drama a la sort of Hill Street Blues to basically a soap opera, sort of like EastEnders style in its last sort of 6 or 7 years. And I think people just turned off on that sort of change in format.
Sorry, Daniel.
No, it's okay. I love these little tangents.
Tangent episode.
Okay, at 10 o'clock, The Late Show. The listing just says that it's satire and sketch comedy from Melbourne's DGen. And thankfully, Warneke has put a box around the listing, which means that he deems it worth a look. Then at 11 o'clock, we've got Netball, the second test in the 1993 international series between those two netball powerhouses, Australia and Jamaica.
Oh, old rivals.
Traditional rivals.
Who will win?
Straya.
Always. And at 12:30, the ATVI News, and at 1 a.m, Rage, finally, featuring clips from Michael Jackson. That's it.
All right, excellent. Thank you very much for that, Daniel. All right, we'll get straight into it. Season 2, Episode 7 of The Late Show, broadcast Saturday, July 17, 1993.
Traveling through the great outback, Wallaby
Jack, Wallaby Jack.
off the beaten track.
Even track, Wallaby Jack. And don't simple care, realistic facial.
God, listening to everyone completely out of sync with the experience.
The wonders of technology.
We were much
It's the
better.
Late Show wall of sound.
Nero impressions were much better.
It was like a shit of sound. It was.
I'm actually glad you invited me back.
We just had a united singing around Australia, the UK, and the US, and it was pure shot. It was beautiful.
Yep. That was like, you know, what was that? It was like not Live Aid, but the other one where it was like all of the singers come together. Like Status Quo. No, the one that all came on into the studio to actually record the song. The Heal the World one.
Oh, We Are the World.
We Are the
Okay,
World. That's right.
so this is orchestra.
We are Wallaby Jack.
Yeah.
All right, but so Wallaby Jack being basically fast forward to the future, and it's
Pretty much, yeah.
It's a
I
good
like
precursor.
how in both Wallaby Jack and in Russell Coit, there's not a full commitment to singing the theme song. It's like, no, 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 no. You know, it's like, take one of, this theme song.
It's all about the theme song.
Traveling through the
So, yeah, just the country twang to it.
Yeah.
Is this the first instance of Wallaby Jack?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Amazing.
But definitely not the last.
I was quite impressed at the quality of even like the graphics in this, like the actual like different sort of mini segments and how much effort they put into that. Felt like they want to make this like look very polished on one hand and obviously very shite on the other.
Yeah, well, I was quite impressed by the billiard table.
Yeah,
I was like, was that like a prop made of like balsa wood or a proper like someone like went down to the local pub saying, "Hey, can we just borrow your billiard table for an hour?"
Yeah.
What for?
It didn't
Don't
look like a
worry.
real billiard table.
I reckon it does.
I thought this is like a kind of ABC props have made something out of balsa wood. I mean, it looks pretty good, but you look at it and you think, actually, I don't think that's a real billiard table.
Yeah.
But it's not shiny and wooden enough,
Well, we didn't know that because we didn't see it fall on that person underneath it, did we?
Exactly.
Who, according to the DVD commentary, that's Annie Marva underneath the table.
Wow,
No.
really?
No.
Fresh from her success in Charlie the Wonder Dog the
I
previous
don't buy
week.
that.
With the precipitous
Yeah,
cliff.
I thought the person
Yeah.
was less realistic looking than the billiard table, but there you go.
I agree. It was like a pair of like Wizard of Oz style legs that's made out of like a pair of old jeans and some straw sort of stuffed into it.
Yeah.
But Stephen, you're talking about the quality of it. I was quite impressed by the when Jack was referring to just to have just the basic essentials for a camping trip, and the amount of trucks and utilities that they had lined up for it with all the Wallaby Jack branding on it.
A semi trailer. Yeah.
Oh, that was
would have cost a
amazing.
fortune.
The truck gag. Oh my God. And it really looked professional too. It didn't look like some dodgy stencil or something with, spray paint. It looked like a proper sign writer has come in and done sign writing on like what?
Not a
truck.
video shop storefront, Wallaby Jack, a proper like artist.
Yeah, like pay you $1 million to design my logo, Wallaby Jack. Yeah.
Yeah.
Like,
It's like that they blew they could have easily blown the budget for it.
So Mike,
where the budget
Hiring
went.
a semi-trailer is going to cost you a bit, isn't it?
Yeah.
absolutely.
And just for one shot as well.
Yeah.
yeah. This is before like CGI would have been trivial to do now. Back then, it would have looked super fake. So they had to do it properly. And yes, it's like this is like a mid-season budget injection from the ABC. Like, what's going on?
Yeah.
My other unresolved question was that a real cop at a real police station, or was it like a fake?
Oh,
He was great,
the
wasn't he?
cop.
He was really
I love the cop.
amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah. Just the kind of like I give a shit expression on his face
Yeah.
is so
And just
perfect.
the perfect acting of, I'll take those details. Yep, thanks. And then as soon as he turns away, he throws it off behind his head.
Yeah. But then you had the Aaron Beaucaire specialty with the Wallaby Jack four-wheel drive blowing up when he's trying to start a fire.
Yeah.
I love it.
Great
Again,
forest.
the expression's slightly too big, and that's why it's
Yeah.
funny.
I must admit, though, if it wasn't for Russell Coit, I would think nothing of Wallaby Jack. I remember in '93, I was like, what is this? What is this waste of time? Tommy G out in the bush. I don't care.
Yeah, I'm the same. I didn't really care much for it back then, but I can see.
No, I loved it at the time. I thought it was really funny.
Me too.
that theme song has just stayed with me, and I always love that sketch.
But surely it's a piss take of those sort of adventurer.
Like
type
Leyland
Yeah, the
Brothers.
Bush Tucker Man, Jack Absalon, Leyland
Leyland
Brothers.
Brothers.
It's all that.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
which if you want, watch the first episode of Leyland Brothers. It's on YouTube. God, they have custom built drawers and everything inside this thing, and then you just go, oh well, you can just go down to BCF and get it all compact now. But the amount of time and effort. All I can say is I recommend checking out the episode. It's just amazing.
And, all that prep work to make sure you have plenty of food and water could not save them from getting into deep financial shit.
There we go.
That's right.
Yeah, there we go.
Yeah,
Right.
you burnt one.
Quite literally, yes.
After the opening titles, the opening remarks with Tony and Mick, and Jesus Christ, there was a lot in this intro, wasn't there? Especially this one guy.
A monster show for you because we've got this man here. I'm too scared to turn around. And no one even offered that man $5, folks. There is no self-respect. On your way, pal. $5 out of us, sir. You've had your fun. Go along. Take your tablet. Ladies and gentlemen, Bart Simpson's boxer shorts, man. It's a new action hero.
And socks.
There'll be dolls on the market shortly. Well, now you know what our producer looks like.
Look, it was inevitable that if Mick Malloy was going to go on to other people's shows, there would have to be somebody brave or stupid enough to try it on at the Late Show.
Yeah.
But so the second that guy jumps on the couch actually falls halfway off
the
raised
stage.
sort of stage platform. So there could have been quite a bad accident there waiting to happen. And I think by sheer luck, he sort of recovered.
Yeah, Alf Camilleri would have been hiding behind the stage. So he could have been crushed.
Oh, no.
You realise how incredibly close the studio audience are to where the performers are, and how that obviously gives it a really interesting, like, sort of intimacy, makes it feel like a comedy club, but also how dangerous that is, and how I can't recall any other TV show where the audience are that close to the performers, because normally there's quite a big gap. So it's sort of, it's interesting, but I love the way that Tony and Mick just react to this. They obviously, their years and years of working in stand-up clubs just kick in, and they just let it happen around them. And they are so incredibly cool about it. They're probably panicking inside, but you just don't see it. It feels like almost that this is really part of the show. And it's only later in the show when they start talking about it that you realise this wasn't part of the show. Because their recovery from it and actually working this guy into what they say after he's gone is just, they are such pros. Full credit to them. It's brilliant the way they handle it.
Can I mention that this is probably the start of the episode where Mick is just cracking the shits the entire time?
I don't know. Like, I know that I definitely felt that in the past. Like, I reckon for 25 years, I had a boiling rage about this moment. Like, I really despised it. I hated this guy. I felt the awkwardness of this 110%. But looking at it now, when I'm an older person and it's 30 years and it's just different, and I just go, actually, whatever. It happened, and Mick and Tone are funny. They just drop a few great gags, don't they? That whole, oh God, I forgot.
Now you know what our producer looks like, for example.
Exactly.
I mean, the actual moment itself isn't particularly brilliant because he couldn't get on the couch. He ends up just having to jump up and down on the stage.
And what a heffalump he is. Like, you can hear every single reverb of his big bony feet hitting the stage. Like, he's such a dag. I really disliked him for a very long time, and now I just think, oh, whatever.
So is that something you spoke about it in the playground the next week at school, just saying, this idiot who jumped on the couch?
I was furious because I feel like there's you know how we talked about the Late Show Museum? Like I think this episode also should go in the Late Show Museum because there's some amazing moments in this episode. It is absolutely incredible. There are some bits in it that are just the best of all time, but there are some bits in it that are also the worst of all time. This kind of being that, oh my God, this is live, this is horrible. And then the next segment with Judith and Mick where there's like some weird gaffes with the microphone and stuff, and it just sort of like, it doesn't work. So there's moments of light and shade in this episode, It's
a representative episode, isn't it? Because it's got the bad and the good. And that was the Late Show. It wasn't all perfect.
Yes, exactly. Yeah.
So do we ever find out who that guy was? Because I have a theory.
Yeah.
I think we did.
So-
yeah, but not worth.
Well, I have like one of my top three suspects. One would be serial pest Peter Hoare.
I think he's a bit too young and good looking for that. Wasn't
Conman.
Peter very sort of bony and hippie kind of a guy?
Yes, or then conman Peter Foster, who's known for jumping off the easy
It's not Peter Foster. Peter Foster had a round face.
My top one is actually Chook from Countdown Revolution.
It's not. Chook had these glorious, kind of crappy, kind of blonde
Everyone
locks,
loved
didn't he? Yeah.
No, I think we.
This guy's just some random. He's just some rando guy. You know,
he was actually a comedy writer. He was a comedy writer for Rove. Yeah, I think we found that out once upon a time. But I have
Didn't
no
they get very, very? Did we ever find out? Because I heard years ago that they got really angry with him. They, the people who made the Late Show and presumably the cast as well, they got really angry with this guy for jumping onto the set of the show while it was live, which I guess you can understand because, he, as we said, things could really seriously have gone wrong there. And, there's legal implications. There's all sorts of stuff going on. But, yeah, that's what I heard, that they got really angry at him.
Well, we'll try and find an answer for that in a future episode. Nudge, nudge, wink, wink.
Oh, okay.
All right, so no more.
We know that Matt can really
coming on. Is he this bloke is in the underpants?
No. I'm talking about someone else who's coming on the podcast.
Sizzle.
Yeah, there's a teaser.
But yeah, that said, if you are the guy that jumped up and down in the Bart Simpson boxers and socks on the Late Show, we would kind of love to hear your side of the story.
Yeah.
It's quite a claim to fame.
Now, I don't know whether to go through all the bits that they covered because there was quite a fair bit, but
oh, come on, you got to talk about Angry Soapbox.
Okay,
this is the first time we hear about Angry Soapbox from Tony Martin. It became a big theme later on in his work.
Yes. So I have a story about this kind of. This is going to be a slightly long bow, but it is related. So yes, Tony has talked about trying to find Angry Anderson's soapbox, including I think during the Channel 9 pilots era, he went through there, and during the Mick Malloy show era, trying to go through like the props department, desperately trying to find his soapbox. And so, despite my somewhat outgoing demeanor now, I was a much more shyer guy earlier in life, and I was actually at a wedding. I was at a wedding about 12 years ago where Angry Anderson was actually there because the groom was a roadie, and Angry actually ended up performing as like that kind of house band. It wasn't Rose Tattoo. It was like Angry and then like a few other folks. And I desperately wanted to go up to him and say, "Do you have the soapbox?" And I just couldn't get the courage to ask him. And that was my closest claim to fame about this infamous holy grail of Channel 9 prop history.
And one of your biggest regrets that you never got to ask him that.
Exactly.
Now, please tell me, did he do Suddenly?
No, I really wanted him to do We Can't Be Beaten. But no, alas.
That would have been perfect for a wedding. Come on.
He did a bunch of standards, I think, but like standards coming out of Angry Anderson's mouth was a sort of an interesting thing.
Standards.
I wonder what his fee was.
Angry Anderson doing standards? He's saying, "I've got you under my skin" or whatever. That's ridiculous.
Did he do his one line of "Merry Christmas, the war is over"?
Oh, that's even more obscure than Suddenly, Matt.
You know what?
That's
Matt,
the Incredible Penguins.
Matt, I will go and ask the bride, and I'll come back to you in a future episode. How about that?
Yeah, right. All right, we'll move on from there, I guess, other than Billy Idol's anti-drugs and alcohol CSA, which I tried to find, couldn't find anything about it. Maybe with good cause.
Yeah, after you, Billy.
Yeah, you first, Billy.
Yeah, and Mick is talking about joining the CSIRO, but there was something to do with a protest. I couldn't find any news on that.
Yeah, I also couldn't remember this at all. My only reference I wanted to say was that the CSIRO actually helped co-invent what is now modern Wi-Fi. but that's unrelated to Mick's story.
Yeah, it's kind of fascinating that Mick would want to join the CSIRO. That's ace.
Yep. And there's
He'd
also
be doing lots of rigorous experimentation on the Dutch oven, I imagine.
that's what's powering this Wi-Fi.
I always wondered what it was.
All right, we'll move on. Like John Hewson appearing on the show, not like anyone cares.
Yeah, I mean, the only thing I get from that monologue is that Liberal was in a bit of a leadership dispute.
I'd say so,
Well,
yeah.
this was around the time when Alexander Downer took over for a year, wasn't it? It was around 93.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Roughly, because Alexander Downer was only the opposition leader for 1 year because he was so successful. Anyway,
Yeah, things have not changed today, seeing as Gladys has just resigned as well from the New South Wales Liberal Party.
Yes.
But they said, is he still the leader of the opposition? Oh, it might change at the end of the show, but he's got the look in his eyes that he's already started stealing stationery. So I thought that was funny.
And now it's over to the news desk with Tommy G.
Now we don't get the news theme here. There's obviously some kind of technical issue or something.
But we do get Tony announcing him as pants free.
Oh,
yeah.
Damn it. There goes that wasted opportunity. Pantsless Tommy G. So we have Natural Disaster Week, Japan earthquakes, USA floods, and England Greg Norman to choke in the British Open. There's other complaints as well, such as Optus accusing Telecom of sabotaging their calls, and Optus spokesperson was interrupted during a press conference.
Hello, Philip. It's John Blackman.
That to me never gets old.
No.
President Clinton visiting South Korea, showing off his military know-how by not removing the covers off the binoculars. So that was great footage.
A great bit of actual footage, and again, it's that eye for the actual news blooper sort of things that still carries through today with have you been paying attention?
And the cheap seats.
cheap seats, yeah.
Boris Yeltsin making a dick of himself, wearing a fluffy hairpiece and appearing in the Siberian gay Mardi Gras. Yeah, and we've got the Japanese election with Mr. Mizaki, who wants to know who took his sleeves. Sorry. Yeah,
A very Tommy G joke.
Oh yeah. Dame Joan Sutherland becoming a singing teacher, working with sopranos, tenors, and pissheads.
That was great.
Here we go. Here we go.
Yeah, flying dickheads, yeah. And
nice.
Yeah, thank you. And Wallabies team went to New Zealand for the Bledisloe Cup.
Relaxed, confident.
Philip, it's John Blackman here.
And just a little bit John Inman.
That I don't know whether that was actual footage or not, or they doctored that in.
I think it was
Or they're just
real.
taking it out of
I think the guy just took a skip in his step and sort of ran further into the airport, and I think they just took that opportunity to put a cheap John Inman gag in there.
Okay.
Yeah.
This is where he decides to introduce a special weatherman.
Yay!
Amazing.
Yay.
Yeah.
Yes.
Late
This is
show
another
museum.
This is another pilot, actually. This is the pilot of Jeff Salter from Frontline.
Frontline.
Yeah. Oh, I love this. I don't even have the words.
It's all a bit squiggly over here.
Tomorrow everything will be very squiggly.
Yeah, exactly.
But I mean,
Like
just
the jumper. The jumper is
then in
like-
a second you see his get up. It's just
It's Brian Bury on acid, you know.
Come on, come on. Just say a word.
Enough of the sparkling repartee. Let's get on with it.
Oh, watch out for that pointy thing. You'll have someone's eye out.
Or the big explosions.
Yeah.
I just have such strong memories of quoting this every day for the rest of 1993. Like it was
same.
just the hit segment of the Late Show in year 12.
Yeah, we just love replaying this. And when I was going through my old VHSs just in the past week or so, I found when they used to repeat this, I found myself actually recording the repeat of this and just the bits that I liked. So it was just like the weather bit, and then and I thought, hang on a minute, haven't I seen this? Why is it just the weather bit? Then I realised I just like that bit, so I just recorded it.
Because you can never get enough of.
Tomorrow everything will be very squiggly.
Yeah.
It's amazing. And actually, the interaction between Tommy G and Santo in this moment is extremely cute. I have no shame about saying that.
After the Weatherman, we have a commercial, which is Page 3 Studios Erotic or Exotic Photography. It doesn't exactly say erotic. I just added that in.
This was excruciating.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. But this was a thing at the time. You know, you see these ads for glamour photo shoots and you know, women that you might know or be distantly related to would go off and have these glamour photo shoots where they'd be photographed kind of wearing a slip and a trilby hat or something. And, you know, this was supposed to look glamorous and mainly they just looked either idiotic or slutty. So as this sketch suggests.
Yeah, I do.
Studio 2000. That's what I remember. Yeah.
That's them. Page 3 Studios, though. This is what it's called in the sketch.
Which is reminiscent of the newspapers. You know, you have your Page 3 girl.
Yeah, because every lady deserves to be photographed looking like a cheap prostitute.
I really loved the address of Page 3 Studios as well, which was like flat 3A, 2.
It was flat 14, 32A Henley Street, St Kilda, which I actually tried to look up. And as of at least as of 2021, there is no Henley Street in St Kilda.
No, but the vibe is very much.
Totally, absolutely.
You know exactly where this studio is located.
In Warren Purcell's house, yes.
Yeah.
And the voiceover from Judith is great as well. Very reminiscent of. There was a similar sketch a few episodes back where she was doing a 0055, sex line sort of a thing. So this is very much in the same vein, and just the way that she talks about the reaction from the boyfriend. You look like a complete slut. Why didn't you just buy me a copy of Jugs Ahoy? And then he left me. Thank you, Page 3 Studios.
I did have a housemate whose girlfriend did actually take herself to one of these places and ended up being in a calendar for the year. And it was always very interesting just going past this calendar and just seeing someone that I would normally encounter in normal clothes in something.
Jugs Ahoy.
Yeah. It was very awkward.
And now we're on stage with Jane and Judith.
Live television is full of surprises.
It's pretty scary,
And
Judith,
I don't know who that man was that leapt up during the intro, but I just know I want to have his children.
Absolutely.
There's your Bart Simpson
I think we
man.
should actually ridicule this man for his physique because he's got this weird pigeon chest. I just loathe him. Get him on the show by all means.
You need to get over this, Prue. You need to just have some closure. Let's get him on and just
get
talk
on
to him.
this show if we're going to be taking the piss out of him like this.
We'll take a screen grab, tweet it out, and if you know who he is, come on.
Very mean.
He just reminds me of most of the guys that I knew at university. They'd just be kind of up for doing something a bit stupid, and off they went. He's just a guy in his late teens, early 20s, just thinking, oh, this will be funny.
Yeah,
and it kind of wasn't.
Oh, maybe it was one of those uni initiation type of tasks.
Yeah, it was like people dared him to do it or something, and he did it. To be fair, he did do it successfully.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That man was Dan Andrews.
Basically, Jane and Judith for this segment do their version of the street interviews with a front cover of Who magazine with Kate Moss, and pretty much asking the general public, mainly males, if they find Kate Moss in that pose and that look attractive. This was good, but to a point. I don't want to say too much with this because I have no idea what I'm talking about when it comes to feminism.
To women. There's quite a breadth of views, some of which are bordering on abhorrent.
Troubling.
Well, I'll play you one where they were talking to that teenager girl or the young woman.
You're happy just with your own look?
Not really.
Well, that's nonsense. You should be. A girl like you on rollerblades, you've got your whole life ahead of you.
We definitely need the product of its time sound effects. So once you load that one up, I do agree. I think this felt problematic, but in a different lens now compared to 1993. I want to know who the guy. I'm the very well known guy. I have two theories.
Yes.
Oh,
well,
yeah.
Here we go. Before you go into it,
I'm very well known. I'm very well known.
Oh, are you?
I'm very well known.
Like above board well known?
Yeah, above board well known.
See this girl here?
Yeah.
She's the hottest model around at the moment. Kate Moss is her name. What do you reckon of her look? Do you think she's a bit skinny?
Very, very ordinary, to be perfectly candid.
Yeah?
Very, very ordinary.
So if she came up to you and put the hard word on, you'd say, Kate, I'm sorry, babe, but it's just not on.
I'd say, Kate, I'm available, but I'm real hard to get.
So
Not with that haircut, you aren't, sir.
well, and that so that got me down to thinking he's one of two people. He's either a Leo Sayer tribute band leader, or he's an early makeup job of Vince Colosimo as Neville Bartos from Chopper.
Or C, absolutely nobody.
Yeah.
Well, you see,
No.
you know that he's very well known because he says that he's very well known.
Exactly.
3 times.
True, you're wrong. Yes, he's very well known.
I'm absolutely right.
Yeah, he's wearing a black suit, black skivvy. Skivvy's back. And he's got the mop of dark curly hair, which makes me think that he might be the father of the Bart Simpson boxes and socks guy, because he's also got curly hair.
Oh, what a
as well.
conspiracy!
I'm going to insert this.
A product of its time.
Yeah.
Well, he was holding a mobile phone. That makes him very important.
So, seriously though, do we know who this very well-known gentleman actually is?
Oh, he was just a local real estate agent or something.
Yeah. That's my theory.
Yeah, he was about 10 years too early for the spiky white bleached hair and the Bluetooth earpiece. But I agree with Alison. He does seem like a colourful real estate identity in Melbourne.
Yes.
To me, it ended very well though, because the last guy who was clearly had a couple of drinks, and eventually I think Judith
How
realizes
great
this and
is
says,
that?
Here we go. I've actually got him here.
No, well, I think women are women, regardless of what year they were born.
Women are women.
Ooh,
You're
I'm
a
gonna write that one
philosopher.
down.
Well, it's the truth, isn't it?
Yep, women are women.
And men are men, Gav.
One sits down and one stands up. I mean, there's no
What do you reckon about the models from different decades?
from the 70s to the 60s, 70s, 80s, and 90s. Well, what's the question?
Well, when do you think they're at their peak? When do you think girls look the best?
Best at what?
Oh, come on!
A couple of beers.
I'm a bit under the weather, but I'm not absolutely off my face.
No.
And I love
I love that.
Nick Boyle.
I love that.
Good on you.
I'm a bit under the weather, but I'm not absolutely off me face. Like, that is amazing. I carry that slogan with me everywhere I go.
yeah, that was a great, because this segment felt long, and I felt like that was a great way to kind of cap it off at the end.
Hang on. I'm feeling like you guys don't like this segment, but can we examine that? Like, it's totally fine. Like, this street
It was
talk
fine.
is exactly the same as every other street talk. It's great.
100%.
I love it. Like, just because it's Judith and Jane doing it, it doesn't mean it's awkward or weird or anything like that.
Not at all.
Great.
Not at all. Not at all.
Yeah. I totally agree. Like, it's completely fine. It's just the men that who are talking in it are complete douchebags.
But they always are.
They're always douchebags in all the streets.
That's just
I mean,
life.
okay.
No. But you got this guy here. So that guy, he's completely fine. He's normal douchebag, but the other ones are just not funny. Like, they talk about all that shit, and they're just, I don't know. To me, I just feel like you dickhead, you're not funny. Like, the other ones, like Jane and Judith have called out these morons.
Well, that's what makes it good. The fact that they do call it out, and the fact they are shining a light on this, on these idiots, and the fact that the whole media that back then as teenage girls we would have seen all of these images of all these women, and this is the latest one that we're meant to aspire to, so that the reactions of these men, we as teenage girls, I'm sure Prue and Alison would agree, we're just like, yeah, these people are idiots, and thank you for calling them out, Jane and Judith.
Well, yeah, it's a comment on men judging women and the men being like crap or worse and really in no position to judge. I mean, all the beanies these guys are wearing, they're all inarticulate, you know, and also who cares what they think? You know, I think it's maybe not as funny as some of the other street talks. I would agree with that comment, but I think it's kind of interesting and I think it's good to have a different take on it.
Yeah.
So it's okay.
And there are some funny bits. Like I do love the older woman who goes, oh, she's not wearing a bra at all.
Oh, yeah. Well, yeah, judgy older women as well. You know, like sort of our mothers or, you know, aunts or whatever, they would all say stuff like that. You know, which basically just reinforces what Dolly magazine's telling you to do, which is to be anorexic, basically.
Yeah. Or the guy with the beanie, one of the guys with the beanie, and there were many, who says, oh, fairly big bosom. this is Kate Moss.
But then also gets very philosophical, saying there's only life, death and life, isn't there?
Yeah. Is there? Let's unpack that.
Yeah, he doesn't say life and death. He says it. He says death first. I hope he's all right wherever he's gone. Hopefully,
I hope the guy who had brain surgery who revealed
Oh yeah.
bandage, and he says I've had something to do with the brain.
Then Judith says it sounds like you've had a lobotomy.
Absolutely it does.
Now, also, Matt, that last guy you played who bellowed something into the microphone.
I had rocket dancing treatment. I had always President Presley Albert. Get up.
Oh, competition further.
Is that English? Because I could not understand. There was something about a drunken treatment, and he was either saying second birthday ever or fucking birthday ever. I'm not quite sure. And he like the last two words he might have said might have been shut up. I'm not quite sure. Play it again, Matt.
I had rocket dancing treatment. I had always President Presley Albert. Get up.
Shut up. Yeah,
it's competition further again. Competition further.
It sounds like the opening few seconds to a TISM song called "A Hard-Earned Thirst Needs a Big Cold Beer, but I Drink to Get Pissed." Look it up.
100%. That guy does give.
What you think they are going on competition further? They are going on competition further. He going on competition further. I had rocket dancing treatment. I had always President Presley Albert. Get up.
Definitely brothers or cousins.
Long lost brothers.
Yeah. I do not know how Santo kept that camera still. Like, that is amazing.
Up next, we have a live sketch, and it's a Jason Stevens special. It's the grooming school for AFL footballers, and they have Tim Watson in, who sounds like this beforehand.
Jimmy, you played well last week.
Well, all the boys played well. You know, it's really good to get a win under our belt, but we're not getting carried away. You know, if you look at our team, we really are a champion team, not a team of champions.
Right. What about the finals?
Well, look, we can't look that far ahead. You know,
cliche, blah blah blah.
Yeah, exactly. Jason goes through the list of what the grooming school can do for AFL footballers, such as no cliche responses, no false modesty, and listens and says exactly what he thinks. This is him after.
Tim, you played a great game last week.
Good. I was shit hot last week. Actually, I've been bloody good since I've come back, and I've just been a little bit disappointed with the way some of the other boys have been performing.
And Timmy, what about the finals?
Who gives a rat's ass about the finals? There's a couple of important things that are going on at the moment. First, I've got to get paid.
Right.
And, you know, the way I've been playing, it's never enough.
Right.
And secondly, I'm still organising the players' trip away at the end of the year.
Great. And Timmy, the big question, will you be playing on next year?
No, I don't need this bullshit. No, I'd much rather get back up there in the commentary box with, you know, Dennis and Bruce and the boys and chew on donuts and, you know, hang shit on the blokes who are playing today.
Great,
I remember having a massive crush on Tim Watson in 1993, but now I couldn't give a stuff.
Good on you, Prue.
And I had no idea who he was. I didn't know who he was. I still don't.
But yeah, it's a brilliant live sketch, like using an actual AFL footballer, saying what everybody would say if they had the microphone thrust in their face after a game of AFL. The only thing I'll mention also, pedantry. Tim says you know quite a lot. I don't know if you noticed.
You know, the way I've been playing, it's never enough. Right. With, Dennis, hang shit on the blokes who are playing today.
Great.
4 times there. Well, I counted.
And I think there's about as many in the before.
In the first one.
Yeah.
Now it's time for a music sketch with Jason throwing to Cameron Daddo.
I wanted to have a hit, but it's been out for weeks and nobody's buying it because it's 4.5 minutes of shit.
This was just so great.
Oh God, yeah.
Yep.
I actually listened recently to the actual original song, which is on Spotify, and
it's made it to Spotify.
It's on YouTube as well. If you want to see the video, it's on YouTube.
And the Late Show version is far superior in basically every way.
Of course.
Yep. And that was evident at the time.
Well, I decided to reach out to Cameron Daddo and get his thoughts on this. And this is what he had to say.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, he said nothing. He didn't bother responding to me.
So that was 4.5 minutes, 4.5 seconds, I should say.
So he's clearly too busy. He's too busy writing his follow-up to his 2016 album "Songs from the Shed."
He's too busy pre-recording music shifts on Smooth FM in order to reply to Matt.
I emailed him 2 weeks before this episode, so I could have.
Boo, Cameron.
I did have a friend connection as well, but I decided not to because I think as well I didn't hear from him as he, at the time, he was preparing for Dancing with the Stars All-Stars.
Hasn't he done well?
But I think it has nothing to do with Cameron Daddo and everything to do with Rob Sitch. This is the Rob Sitch awakening that you've all been waiting for.
Wasn't it a few episodes ago, Prue? So this is actually every few episodes. It's like, oh, this is the one where Rob Sitch was like, oh, no, it's this one.
It's definitely accumulating.
Did you notice that there's a bit where Jane is piggybacking on Rob's back? Yes.
There's a lot of Rob and Jane love alarms going off in this, but also it's the best wig game of 1993, and in fact, perhaps ever.
It's definitely an Ed Cavalier helmet of hair. Wig, definitely. The surprising thing to me is that even after Cameron Daddo released that single, he still got a job on Models Inc. So yes, must have an agent that really knows how to play to his strengths.
And as I learnt from Matt's own website, My Geek Culture, that this song was featured on the Models Inc. soundtrack. Is that right?
No.
You wrote about it in 2016, so obviously it's stuck in your mind very well in that time.
That is mygeekculture.com.au, and it's got random pop culture crap on there, including this podcast as a double up. So if you want to check that out, by all means. And if it's badly written, sorry.
No, it's very well written. And the original video clip is actually 4 minutes 12. So as my partner said, it's 4.5 minutes because you have to think about why the hell you watched those 4 minutes 12 for the next 18 or so seconds. On the YouTube video, there's actually someone saying, oh, I lasted 2 minutes 35 and I feel like that's an achievement. And I thought I managed to watch 3 minutes 37 and I thought so I actually did better than him.
I watched the whole thing on YouTube. I watched all of it.
Well,
so I get an award, presumably.
You should get an award. Someone rightfully commented that it's a low point in human history.
It's not that bad.
Well,
when do you think low points in human history are like World War I or something?
or Bruce Ruxton's rap video.
Yeah, or Bobcat as Rara Rasputin this week. So
That was amazing. High point in human history was Judith doing like the finger glasses.
Oh crap!
One of my favorite bits.
Personally, I think the only redeeming feature of the 15 minutes of fame video on YouTube is that it's out of sync.
Yeah, I noticed that.
Oh.
If you freeze frame the shot where they're in the bar, you see Alison, his wife.
Alison Bray.
Yeah,
Alison Bray.
The co-host from God Knows What.
Yeah.
I'm dancing a sailor's horn.
Sailor's hornpipe. That's right.
Now, also, Cameron Dadda's 15 Minutes of Fame only peaked at number 86 on the ARIA singles chart, and the album that it came from peaked at number 91.
Oh. Well, you know.
Ouch.
I mean, look, even Mark Jacko Jackson had a song, so it was a kind of era where like anyone and everyone in Australian quote unquote celebrity was releasing musical content.
Yeah.
Well, Cameron, you are more than welcome to come on a podcast and have a right to reply in regards to this. But don't just ignore my email. Jeez,
Yeah.
rude. People want to hands off our Cam.
This fits into your clearly very busy schedule.
Now, this one goes on for a fair bit too. It's a live performance or a live sketch, really, like a tutorial. It's Mick and Judith, and oh man, this is just bagging out Mick the entire time, right? Especially this moment.
Oh, what's that you got there in your hot little hand?
I've just got a copy of Lovable Lonelies here, Mick. Since you rejected me every time, look, I've got to say I didn't write that line, and I've never been happy about saying it. But no, since
No, please, let's go back. Are you suggesting I would have made you say that, Judith, for the purposes of this particular sketch?
That's exactly what I'm saying, Mick.
Yeah, and you're damn right too. Now,
We all
tell me
know
about
you've
it.
just been begging me for it.
Now,
She's just
Yeah.
ripping into Mick. It's like that she did not want to be a part of this sketch, which assume that Mick has written.
It's also almost 10 minutes long. It's a really, really long sketch. And to me, again, outlives its welcome by at least probably 3 or 4 minutes. It felt
I love
awkward.
that you
I
timed
think
it.
the first sort of 5 or so minutes just felt incredibly awkward, with that sound grab being a very good example. To me, you know, the shiny element of this, of course, is Alf Camilleri with the shiny shirt on, doing the little sort of dance at the door.
Yeah.
And of course, the "Get out of here, Alfie, you shit magnet."
Chick magnet.
Okay, here we go. This is Stephen said shit.
Shit
Brew
magnet.
said
Chick
yeah.
magnet. Yeah.
No, well, here we go. I'll play the grab first.
Get out of here, Alfie, you shit magnet.
And
It's
now,
clearly chick magnet.
It's shit magnet.
no,
magnet.
I always claim it's shit magnet because
Yeah, I
he looks
agree.
horrible. Now I've slowed it down. Listen carefully.
You shit magnet.
Yeah. Wow. This is like Channel 9
But
cricket
shit magnet
audio
isn't
here.
a thing.
No, that's
Shit
the thing
magnet.
because
No one
it's
says that.
Okay, no, the term is chick magnet, but because he looks appalling, he's attracting shit.
Yes.
So he's calling him a shit magnet because
I'm
he's
with
going
Matt on
to
this
attract
one.
shit.
Right.
Yeah.
Yes,
And that's
email Mick Malloy immediately.
Okay.
Exactly.
I think Mick Malloy just sort of struggled over that first syllable of chick. I think that's all
Yeah,
that
that's
happened
what
there.
I
I
think,
think it's an error. I think
One more
he-
time.
Maybe he meant to say chic magnet, as in attracting razors or something. I don't know.
Yeah, that's definitely what it was.
Daniel
Definitely
has
what
it.
it was.
Okay. I'm gonna
So
one more
play
time.
it again.
Okay. All right. Here's the original.
Get out of here, Alfie, you shit magnet.
Now here's the slowed down version again.
You shit magnet.
So we clearly need the third umpire here.
But he's on the bottle
Yeah.
of Merlot.
Call back.
Thank you.
There's no
Okay,
way
Matt,
that Mick
Matt, if
Malloy
you-
would say that about Alf Camilleri ever.
The subtitles.
Not even in a gag.
But it's not Alf he's bagging out. He's bagging out the costume because the costume is hideous.
Yeah, open polyester
Oh my
shirt
God,
and
we are
gold
so in
chains.
the weeds of nerdery here.
No, because
love
this
it.
has annoyed me. This has annoyed me. We made a comment, a big discussion on this on the Champagne Comedy forums when it was completely fully active years ago.
Yeah,
It's
I
been annoying
remember.
me for about 10, nearly 15 years because even I reached out to Matty Dower, Pots and Pans from Get This Era, and I actually sent him the audio grab. Say, can you ask Tony to explain, is he saying chick magnet or shit magnet, just to define it a bit more? Because even though the DVD subtitles say chick magnet, I swear to God, he says shit.
Film.
Oh,
Well, it's like the audio grab of Laurel and Yanni that was going around a few years ago. The black and gold dress and the Laurel and Yanni, and some people hear one thing and the other hears another.
Matt,
I think it's
Matt,
magnet, but
you
wouldn't say
have
chick
to
magnet.
put a poll up on the Twitter and the Facebook, and we need to let the nation decide.
If that goes viral, it'll be, is he saying chick or shit? And imagine that will go gangbusters, I'd say.
Oh,
Guys, it's chick, okay? It's chick. Vote one chick.
Yeah,
I'm saying one too.
But fine, whatever. I'll just disconnect you all.
Mute.
Right,
Yeah.
well, we're going to set up our own rival podcast where,
wouldn't it be
where
like if this
Team
was the final episode
Team
of-
Chick will do one podcast and Team Shit can do another one.
Oh my God.
This is brilliant.
Okay.
This is so good.
Look, I'm happy for one being shit, and then you guys are saying chick. That's
Yeah.
fine.
Right in.
Right in, please. Yeah. Well, that's the extreme that I went to. That I had to email Matty Dower, and then it went nowhere from there. So I'm surprised I'm still good friends with him. Thanks, Matt.
It's the whole Jimi Hendrix. Excuse me while I kiss the sky / kiss this guy. Battle.
Between that and competition further, and the other guy from the Vox Pops, and maybe our hearing is just like collectively all shit. Or chick, I don't know.
Or chick, it's very
It's chick, yeah.
We'll definitely dissect.
Bloody Jeff Kennett.
Oh, goodness.
All right, but there's plenty more in this one. Can I just play one more grab as well?
Yep.
This is where Judith is completely bagging out Mick, part 2.
Now, can I ask at this stage, even though I'm talking, is Mick's face just working overtime? Because I've always thought he works that camera like a woman. Now, I've been unemployed for several...
Yeah,
That's
he's not
when-
happy with that, is he? The look on his face.
That's where I'm thinking that Mick is not having a good night. It's like bag out Mick night.
Yeah, I think I must have thought that in the past, but again, rewatching it tonight, I was like, it's awkward. And again, it's more that the sketch is overlong, like you said, and also there's that weird microphone feedback or whatever's going on that eventually Annie Mavis sort of brings in another microphone or something. It's live TV.
Yeah.
And it's kind of just sort of not hitting all the right notes. And sometimes these live sketches fail spectacularly in a good way, and sometimes they fail, in an awkward way. And I think this is one of those ones that it's just a bit awkward. But what I found is that the thing between Mick and Judith was obviously Judith is throwing in a few bits of improv that he wasn't aware of, and it's off, throwing him off kilter. And it's fine. It's just a little bit strange, I guess.
Are you referring to this bit?
The one I really couldn't believe, did you really write for the comedy company?
Oh, yeah. I also wrote for Jerry Connolly. I also wrote for the Banana Splits. That was a while ago, but it was one of my first jobs. And probably after this show, I'll go back to writing for something else. But can I say, thank you for asking.
Okay. And I could be in trouble after this.
I think so.
We used to quote that actually in the playground as well, which was like, can I say, thank you for asking?
It did feel like after the show there was going to be some tense words exchanged potentially about this sketch. It was very hard to tell what was like playful humor versus like some barbed sort of exchange back and forth.
There's always quite a lot of edge between Mick and Jude in this period, which is why, you know, I've said in previous episodes that I think there's a bit of sexual tension going on. But I think mainly it's probably more comedic rivalry. You know, this is what comedians do. They try and outwit each other.
Yeah.
And it's a game that they all play with each other. And in this case, I think Judith won.
Yeah.
Totally.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I do think it was written by Mick and it was sort of taken the piss out of in real time by Judith. So in actual fact, it's a really great example of this is what happens when you have live TV. Like you can have a sketch that's like got all your other players behind the scenes in their footy gear ready to come on, or hilarious 2 seconds of Rob in this amazing...
Oh yeah, only 2
seconds. Rob is amazing. This sort of
that geeky smile.
The sort of gormless,
With the-
perfect date kind of guy.
Looking like he walked
Adorable.
right off the set of The Bachelor.
Yeah.
Well, with his Ray Martin hair as well.
Oh my
Yes.
God! And the dinner jacket and
origin.
everything. Yeah.
Yeah,
But I think you're right,
Set
Prue.
up. Yeah, and it's a bit pointless because actually what the real kind of edginess of the sketch is Judith kind of taking the piss out of it, going, yeah, so what's this you wanted me to say and what's this about dating? And I love it. It's actually great. But yes, for like 29 years or whatever, I thought, oh God, not this awkward shit again.
I think this is Judith's version of coming on and going champagne comedy. You know,
Yeah.
it's just them kind of critiquing each other in a funny way.
It ends with an interesting sort of concept, which is Mick and Judith on a date. Mick lighting Judith's cigarette. I don't know if there's a metaphor in that or not. And then Judith boldly strikes. That might be another metaphor.
One can read too much into these things.
True.
It is time for, this is one of my favourites. It's toilet
I
break
love
time.
this. I love this one.
It is
Oh my God.
Act 6, Alan and Brenda singing Rockabye Your Baby with a Dixie melody.
It- It did feel like Alan was channeling a little bit of Jerry Lewis.
Yeah, he did have
Jerry
that
Lewis,
vibe.
Jerry Lewis sung this song at once. I mean, they've all sung it. You know, I looked this up. So like Al Jolson, Dean Martin, Judy Garland, Jerry Lewis, Aretha Franklin, Bing Crosby, and Sammy Davis Jr. have all done versions of this. And you know, I think Alan and Brenda have heard one of these versions and just gone, well, we could do that. And no, they really can't.
No, I love them.
You know,
I love it, but it is as Bernard says later a bit sloppy.
Well, Brenda reminded me of a really D-grade version of an RSL club, Red Hot and Rhonda.
Mm-hmm.
Well, it's funny.
Yeah.
It's funny you say that. Funny you say that, Matt. When you look up Alan and Brenda on Google and Potluck, you get a picture of me and Tony Martin. Why did this happen? And then you click on it, and it's actually a link to the forum back in 2005. And someone has said, "What about Alan and Brenda? Christ, that was a dodgy performance." You sort of get the idea that at some stage they'd been doing RSLs, perhaps in the 50s, but they'd spent the last 30 years gardening or hanging about at yacht clubs trying and failing to get membership. The bit early on where they rock out has to be one of the most chilling moments in Australian television history. That bit where Alan suddenly goes nuts after the suave, gentle introduction, "Well, has me pissing myself every single time." And then when she can't get her microphone out of the holder, then when she starts kicking her leg, Then when Bernard says that the bit where she starts kicking her leg was what made it for him, a classic horror Australian cabaret potluck moment. That was by Ocean Throats commercial.
Yeah.
I love them. I love them.
It's definitely cabaret though, isn't it? Like,
Yeah.
they do it like I assume that Alan and Brenda are putting on a bit of a character sort of thing. It certainly seems like it when Alan protests to Bernard King, saying that it's Brenda's first time and be kind.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I think their tongue is very firmly in their cheek. This is hilarious. This is just them having a funny laugh. And I love it. I think it's really great.
Yeah, I like it on the whole as well. And when you hear Bernard's critique, with the amount of points he gave, I think he liked bits of it too.
So where does that rank them in the potluck stakes?
I absolutely deplore untidy, sloppy workers who don't know which is front stage and which is backstage.
Excuse me just a moment. Could you be nice with her because it's her first time? Be
I
gentle
can
with her.
tell women are dreadful to have to play with, especially tall Sheilas. But when she swung a leg, I forgave her for everything. Good gams there, girl. Get them down front stage. Let's see them all. At least you're amusing. You're dreadfully disorganised, but you were amusing, and the song was hateful. I gave you 34.
Song is hateful.
34. So hang on, Piffy got 40, right? And so this lot 6 less. Only 6 less. Wow. Amazing.
Yeah, going straight into second place. The leaderboard. So Piffy at number 1, Alan and Brenda at number 2, the Spangles at number 3, the Nelligan Sisters at number 4, David Tyre at number 5, and languishing on 6th place, the one and only Krista Krul.
God love Krista.
Poor Krista.
And who would have known that Bernard King was a leg man?
Yeah, get the gams out.
Raging misogynist.
Also, I just want to pause a bit and appreciate a couple of the phrases that Bernard used. Musically untidy, and that the song was hateful.
Yes,
hateful.
That was funny.
Such mastery of the English language, Bernd.
Rehearsal.
What is? I have a question. What is hateful about "Rockabye Your Baby" with a Dixie melody? It's an American standard. It's not hateful. It's just he doesn't like it personally.
After the toilet break, it's letter time. Now, I would read out these really fake letters because I actually typed these up word for word, but they're just fake letters. I'll do screen grabs and then post them. But one of them from Phil Simon, unquote, his address is 54 Lunny Crescent, Front Bottom Heights.
Amazing.
You can see that letter a lot clearer in the Stills Gallery on disc 2 of the Best Bits DVD.
So the letter is basically saying these letters are quite phony, talking about Mick's alleged sexual prowess. And so Tony goes and illustrates what Mick's messy bedroom is like and activates the bags.
Taking safe sex to extremes there.
And there's also a sketch drawn by Tony in the Stills Gallery as well. There's one note here that says, "Joke will not work unless it looks like a real car airbag."
The other fake letter is that Jane reads out from Lynette, which the letter is actually bagging out, saying that, not a big fan and so forth. They do ask Jane, as a woman, how do you protect yourself from attack? And so Jane does illustrate the fact that they use the Late Show personal alarm, like the little air siren thing.
Now, all you have to do is press this button and you'll get 200 decibels of Michael Bolton.
No, not Michael Bolton. Michael Bolton.
Yeah. Rob and Jane love evidence.
Join us again, please.
Isn't that Michael Bolton's song the tinniest song ever?
It was a big hit at the time. I mean, I hated it, but it was a big hit.
200 decibels is loud enough to kill you.
Loud enough to kill you. Oh my God.
The next letter is from Gus Berryman, which writes to Rob, and I watch the program every week, blah, blah, blah. But how did you guys meet, pretty much? And so Rob does explain that when they were at uni, they ended up together at the school, or from the school. They were selected to be on It's Academic, and that's where the teaser came in.
And now Minnie beats the buzzer. In which Australian Woollahra?
New South Wales.
Right. What does a flip Chatswood?
Rain.
Right. What's starting with ES Chatswood?
Esteem.
Right.
So that goes on and on and on, but that's very legit. That's from Australian Screen on the website, where you can see a decent black and white clip of the original It's Academic from 1971. That was really cool.
That It's Academic teaser that you played, the anticipation of those kids is unbelievable. Like the question has barely been uttered, and they're New South Wales. What?
Well, I mean, it's Tony Barber advice, right?
Yeah, that's right. You've got to anticipate what is the largest mountain in that. That's when you press the button. Say Mount Fuji. There you go, in Japan.
Isn't this the greatest moment in late show history? Don't you think? Anyone?
Yeah.
Anyone?
It's pretty, maybe not the greatest. It's pretty good. It's pretty good.
But to me, it's more like one of the most prominent, like glossed over in the moment, yet has the most like sort of like it's held on its humor for the entire like 30 years on.
I know from my perspective, this is when I went to school on Monday, and everybody was a fan of the Late Show.
Tonga.
Previously,
Tonga.
it had been maybe 5 of my mates, and now everybody was watching it, and everybody was saying Tonga, and yeah, it just turned the corner.
And Prue, for you, Menagers was also a big one for you, Prue.
Yes. Yeah. Just that whole, what do you keep him in a menagerie? It's just hilarious. Menages.
So, especially with the hands as well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a slight rerun of the Sale of the Century sketch, this, but it's a
Pretty
it's a
much,
classic.
yeah.
With the cutest guys in school uniforms and wigs. That also
Hang on,
has to be
is this another awakening, Prue?
It is definitely probably a Tom Gleiser awakening.
Tonga.
Yeah.
Say Tonga to me.
It was, my word from before was longevity. I struggled to think about that word. It is also 3:30 in the morning, so.
Ouch.
Don't you love the bit where Rob goes, well, what are the items? Because, like, if it's fruit, you're getting ripped off. And just the subtle thing from Rob where he just stops Santo from saying Tonga again.
Well, there's actually one point where someone in the audience actually shouts out Tonga.
That's a well-known clip, and that's on the best bits, so that gets used and seen a lot and quoted a lot, especially during any sporting international sporting events.
Tonga.
So many of them.
Well, there was also, it got said as an answer for when somebody didn't know the actual answer in Sale of the Century, didn't it? I think I don't think it was tweeted by TLS Champagne. It was tweeted by somebody because sometimes I go and have a look at the mentions.
And we have a commercial, which is the Whiting SX50248863 computer.
All I remember from this is that one of the accessories was a sports girl bag.
And the thermos that you'd get a thermos as well with the Whiting.
I was actually quite impressed that it had a modem, and I had to. So this is in 1993.
It didn't have a modem. It just came. They would just mention the words modem and compatible, and what was the other one? Expandable.
And bewildering screen adjustments.
I like the way that they sort of said that if you know about computers, call us now. And then when somebody else calls us after that, we'll tell them what you said.
But yeah, it really is Tony getting to flex his voiceover chops there and say quite a lot of stuff in the space of 30 or so seconds.
Time for Graham and the Colonel, and it's the Air of Expectation edition.
Oh, man.
Oh, it was just like, Rob or Graham just kind of regretting the entire segment even before it started.
I mean, you could tell throughout the episode that there were a number of, production issues. Like there was audio problems in the AFL sketch. I mean, even back to the couch at the opening, and I think that like they were sort of like leaning, like steering into the skid at this point. Like things had gone wrong enough live that they're like, okay, well, we're just gonna go for it. And yeah, the air of expectation then became somewhat labored in this segment, but I think they did a very good job, and some good gags in there, like the HMS Endeavour, Captain Stubing was a nice Love Boat reference, and of course the Earl of Sandwich, and we all learned something on that episode when the Earl of Sandwich was up late one night and ordered a food between two pieces of bread.
There's a famous story about Sandwich.
For those of you who don't know it, back in the 16th century, during a late-night card game, the Earl of Sandwich asked for 2 slices of bread with a piece of meat in between, and hence the name Midnight Snack.
That's a beautiful delivery.
Yes, the air of expectation.
And I don't have any context, but I wrote down the gag for the whole family to discard. I don't know what the context of that was, but it made me laugh.
That might be
that's facts from the encyclopedia, from Graham and the Colonel's World Book Encyclopedia.
Yeah, this one here.
Andrew Lloyd Webber is not only famous for composing musicals, he also invented the amazing barbecue.
The Webber barbecue.
The expectation, I heard it there.
Champagne comedy.
Anything about Tonga in there?
In about 10 years' time, Colonel, we'll be doing that. A Swanee River.
You know what? It's been over 10 years, so I'm expecting them to do one now. They're overdue.
Wouldn't it be amazing if Rob and Santo did the Swanee River together?
30-year anniversary, come on.
Which one of them's going to show their gams, though?
Surely Rob.
There's also about the Viander Cross being named the horse of the year, and the Colonel hopes that the horse doesn't require his services as he puts down the horses.
Yes. Such a senseless waste of an innocent Christmas tree.
This gets rather unpleasant, this
yeah,
bit.
it was unpleasant. But before that, I thought it was interesting the way Santo goes to Rob, never stop during a list. Did you notice that? Yeah. Rob always goes off script and Santo was like, don't stop during a list, because it's clearly like the auto cue is rolling really fast.
Yeah, as you were mentioning that, did Tonga make a return?
Shock used you during the program. Come on, you just got to move this ahead. Come on.
No, I'm going to just sit here and take my time with it tonight.
Great. Tonga. Tonga.
Classic.
Does anyone want to mention the last joke?
Hard yakka.
Hard yakka.
Oh man, what a throwback that was.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's so much advertising referenced in the Late Show, and again we all remember the ads.
Hard yakka.
Hard yakka. Ooh.
You're too real there, Stephen.
So I've had time to actually look at the Twitter feed where someone did mention the Tonga reference. It was on Sale of the Century, July 17, 2001, the 21st Birthday Challenge Finals, 18 seconds on the clock, and the guy just buzzed too early and just said Tonga. And,
yeah.
Yeah, I mean,
2001. You're right, Stephen. It's longevity.
Wow.
Yes.
What a legend. That's like that guy who knew all about the castle on Hard Quiz. Amazing.
And it's time for the closing, and the D-Gen have actually attended Ernie and Denise's 1000th show party, where they go through the Channel 9 dressing rooms. You got Daryl Summers' dressing room filled with drums, Mike Willis's beer kegs.
Booze. That's a very poor joke.
Yeah. And Collett Mann and John Mangos nameplates are in the bin. And yeah, ouch. Burn. That's a big burn. And Mick Malloy is caught in Joe Bailey's dressing room.
That was fantastic. I was not expecting that, and I thought that was a great little execution of that. You know, without any pretext, it was just shown for what it was.
Anyone want to explain the final bit?
So okay,
Marty Monster.
Well, before that though, I was trying to write down as many celebrities as I could recognize, and I only got a handful. There was obviously Ding Dong. You saw Pete Smith, Glenn Ridge, Red Simons, and then there was a guy that to me looks like George Burns. That I think was like maybe like an AFL, like a Channel 9 old AFL commentator, maybe, or an NRL commentator. Not Ray
Lou
Warren.
Richards. It's Lou Richards.
Oh yeah, Lou Richards. Thank you. That's why I'm here on this podcast to get these questions answered.
You can do 8%, but you can't do Lou Richards.
There was a sort of cavalcade of sort of B grade stars throughout that very small segment before we got to Marty Monster, of course, and then the mystery being unveiled.
So Marty the Monster was revealed as Greg Evans. And I love the running jokes about Greg Evans sort of, no longer being a celebrity. Like he's now having to fill the Marty the Monster costume. But all I could think about when I saw that bit was, does anybody remember the blooper of Marty the Monster? It was quite famous. It was played a lot in the 90s around this time.
Was that the kangaroo?
Yeah.
Yes. Oh my God.
Clive James popularized that, I think, because it was on Clive James's program.
It might have also been on our regular bloopers as well, because I remember seeing it quite a lot, and it just that hilarious squashing down of Marty the Monster's head by the kangaroo. Like a sponge. It just goes from 3 foot wide to 2 centimeters.
Now it is the musical finale time, and Tony instructs Mick, after Graham and the Colonel failed last week, to get the musical act that he requested, and he wanted Jimmy Barnes, Working Class Man, but he ended up getting Jimmy Hannon.
Father, son left to carry on, blue denim in their veins.
Rock and roll.
Man, he's come a long way since his Club Yarrawonga days.
What you'll love about these condominiums here at Club Yarrawonga is that it's all here.
Yeah,
Wow.
it's very kind of Frank Sinatra style, isn't it? I mean, I didn't know that Jimmy Hannon sang, particularly in that style.
Well, I was going to say I did reach out to Barnesy for a comment. And I said either recorded message or an email. And so I got an email, and here it is. Okay, it says, "Hi Matt, thanks for the email. Unfortunately, Jimmy isn't available for any interviews at the moment. Sorry, we're not able to assist. Kind regards." So that was his agent.
Thanks, Jimmy.
Well, that was his agent, but the agent's assistant, who I originally was talking to, who had forwarded it on my email, I'm going to use this as the quote instead. Now, this is what the assistant said. "I remembered that episode very well. Hilarious."
Right.
So I'm going to say that Jimmy Barnes thought it was hilarious.
I mean, also was a great reference to the tin lids as well in that.
Oh, yeah. I'm Jimmy Barnes, and these are the tin lids. That's in the ticket promo, so a lot of people won't have seen that.
Yeah.
Oh, yes.
Again, this is one of the non-hidden extras on Disc 2 of the Best Bits DVD. And it's also a return to actually performing live in the studio, which they hadn't done since episode 1 of season 2 with
Cookie.
With Cookie, which went very shambolically. So, thankfully, this one with Jimmy Hannon went a lot smoother. And it works perfectly. Singing Working Class Man in a lounge kind of style, and probably this is also predating all of these other sort of singing popular music in a lounge style sort of comedy acts like Frank
Cheese.
Bennett, Richard Cheese, Bob Down,
Richard Cheese.
Since we've already gone into that audience solicit thing with Jimmy Hannon, that pretty much wraps it up. But was there any Easter egg credits, Daniel?
No, nothing of the sort. Just listing the special guests being Jimmy Hannon and Tim Watson. Both live in the studio, so nothing through the pre-records.
Other than that, that's it for episode 27 of the Champagne Comedy Podcast. Also, the end of season 2, episode 7 of The Late Show. So, thank you so much for listening to the podcast. Don't forget our competitions, which is the Champagne Comedy pins and sticker set, and also the Chances box set. All those competitions close on October 31st, and so you'll see all those details on the champagnecomedy.com website. So send us some feedback. ChampagneLateShow@gmail.com, Twitter @TLSChampagne, visit our website and also Facebook, The Late Show page, not the Stephen Colbert one. There's also, if you search for Champagne Comedy Podcast as a group on Facebook, you'll see it there. It'll be on private. Answer the 3 questions and you're in. A lot of people have been just signing up and not answering. I'm just accepting it. So, yep, fair enough. Also, our Redbubble website, bit.ly Champagne Comedy, where we need some fundraising really to buy you some prizes. So that's coming soon. That's some sizzle for next year. Trust me, it's going to be really, really good. So other than that, does everyone have anything else to say, or we're all good?
Vote one chic.
All good.
Vote one shit.
Chic.
Chick.
Shit.
Oh,
Chic. Shit.
Shit. So who says shit?
Yeah, me.
Me. Yeah.
Okay. Cool.
So we've got 3 shits and 3 chicks.
Yep.
Yes.
Oh God, we're right down the middle on this one.
It's going to be Australia decides.
This is the vote that could change the world, guys. So, join in the fun.
All right. So
When I say fun,
Prue,
fun.
so Alison, Prue, and Daniel, you vote.
Get out of here, Alfie, you shit magnet.
Chick.
Yeah.
Stephen, Kim, and myself vote shit.
Yeah.
Shit magnet.
No one says shit magnet ever.
No, that's the thing.
He didn't mean it.
That's the
He
point.
just happened to say it. Yeah.
Because
Exactly.
because of the way he's dressed, he would attract shit.
No one says I got the paper as well, right? So
All right, it's time to go. So thank you very much, Alison, Daniel, Kim, Prue, and Stephen.
thank you so much. Always fantastic to be here.
All right, keep subscribing. Give us good ratings.
Go to sleep, Stephen.
My name's Matt. Thanks for listening to Champagne Comedy Podcast. See you next episode.
Bye.
Thank you for listening to the Champagne Comedy Podcast, created by fans for the fans. For more information on this podcast, please visit champagnecomedy.com. Produced by Matt Fulton Productions, mattfulton.com.au.